This week in comic books, we're going to ask the question, who are these comic books written for? And also, what exactly are the editors doing? Because I'm not, I'm not seeing, I'm not seeing the result of their job here. There was some good stuff. Let's roll the intro and talk about it. Hey, what's going on, you wonderful weirdos? It's Pocan Joe here, as always. You're pretty cool for swinging by. Appreciate having you here. Today we're gonna get a little dirty today. We're gonna be digging into some of this stuff today. We're gonna find out, one, who's this book written for, and two, was it edited? And I asked that question because, and we're gonna kind of, this may kind of hurt some feelings. Things happen. It's okay. We can still be friends and disagree and all that, but. What is going on here? If you don't know, I'm a middle-aged man who reads a bunch of comic books, then I take a bunch of notes on them, and then I try to regurgitate to you kind of what's happening in this, where some of the lore comes from, if anything unique sticks out in it. And we're going to talk about that today, launching right off into DC with Batman, Fortnite. Now, you're probably thinking, oh, this is the one he's going to eat up. He's going to eat this one up. No. We've seen similar stories to this where Batman or some superhero goes into another dimension of a bunch of crazies trying to kill everybody. It just makes sense that it'd be Fortnite in this. Plus, a bunch of kids are going to get little codes so they can get their little Bat Armor vehicle. If you collect if you collect each one of the issues, you'll get like a special Bat Armor thingamajigga, whatever that's in the game. I don't play Fortnite. I'm not an expert in it. I think my nephew still plays it. So I sent him the code. But all in all here, Batman and Catwoman don't know each other in this new... They got like amnesia, right? We're playing the amnesia gag in this too. And they're having to fight off all these Fortnite people, and they decide to work together. And he kind of deduces, because his criminal detective mind deduces that, I think we love each other. Like that's probably a thing. And like he uses muscle memory because that's how he remembers to fight. Muscle memory. Muscle memory is not a real thing. It's just a knee-jerk reaction that's in your subconscious that makes that happen. But we're not going to beat that up. Whatever. All in all, it's a kid's story. I would say this is a kid's story. Young teenager, probably deep into the whole Fortnite thing. Maybe, that's your thing late at night while you're drinking energy drinks and chomping on Cheetos, whatever your thing is, man. This is probably right up your alley. I would definitely probably check it out, especially from what I understand. The first couple of codes, you'll get one thing, and then the last code, like, there's this Batman armor thing that you'll get. I don't know. So definitely check it out. Let's see here. Moving right into Justice League. So we're bringing back Naomi. Now, this was a good story, but man, the dialogue is just off-putting. Bendis trying to write these characters as children or teenagers. I can't help but think that Naomi sounds like one of the girls from Mean Girls. Remember that show? I think it was in the 90s or something. I didn't really watch it, but I remember the previews. There's a lot of, yeah, right, really? Like, I can't help but think that that's how Naomi talks. And I'm just like, why would she talk like that? Why would an African-American character be a stereotypical suburban knight? Right? Why would that be the thing here that we're using? Like, doesn't she have her own voice? Why does she gotta sound like a little blonde-headed Karen, at the age of 13? Like, that's just weird to me. But all in all, I really liked this story. Let me be clear on that next part. It's dialogue just hangs me up a little bit. But all in all, this is a really cool story because I like this Naomi character. I think they can do some really cool stuff with her. I kind of like this other world that's not part of the multiverse for some weird reason. So for all my big multiverse guys out there, this is kind of set aside from it. Or maybe you're just getting tired of the multiverse. This is actually something different. And it's kind of refreshing. And apparently there's some bad guys there. And they want to do things like take over the earth because it's clean and fresh. So fresh and so clean. I wish they would have put that in here. That would have been awesome. That would have been a great tagline in here. But, whatever. So all in all, good story. Just the dialogue kind of puts me off a little bit. And the truth is that could just be me, to be honest. Next, Truth and Justice. So what did we end up with in here? We get Constantine being Constantine. Like, it's a reintroduction of Constantine, if you will. After all that stuff that happened in Justice League and Future State, we kind of get this kind of, hey, if you forgot, John Constantine's kind of a jerk. Yeah, he did all those great super sacrificial things over there, but at the end of the day, he's a trickster, and he's sneaky, and nobody really likes him, and here's why. As he's dealing with Brother Midnight, or I'm sorry, no, Papa Midnight in here. I was going to say Brother Voodoo, that's Marvel. But Papa Midnight. Yeah. And how he kind of screwed him over, and in turn kind of screwed over an innocent kid that once had powers but doesn't anymore. Will he turn into Constantine's next villain? That would be kind of interesting to see. I would like to see that. But for the most part, this was just a reminder that, yeah, Constantine's a prick. He's a jerk. A lovable one, but nevertheless. All right, next. We're jumping to indies next. I only got one indie this week. I got The Old Guard, Tales Through Time. The only thing that this book has in it is weapons don't last forever and Nazis are bad. That's the wrap-up of this story. That's literally it. The writer wants you to feel that there is something more important going on in this story, but it's not. Because if you take the story, if you were an editor, and you took this story and you read it backwards, it wouldn't make any sense. Now you're probably thinking, Joey, well, no story would make sense. No. Conclusion happened. It should take you to the beginning of a story, right? That doesn't happen in here. That's how you edit things. You read it forward, or you read it backwards, and you read it forward to make sure you have a cohesive tale, front, middle, end, and it combines in some way, shape, or form. That doesn't happen in here. This actually kind of plays more in line, not in the Old Guard from the comic book from back in the day, but more like that Netflix thing that happened on TV, which was super cool, by the way. Like, that was I want some more of that story. But instead, you tried to force this in there, and you just said things that people already knew. Oh, whatever. I mean, that's your thing, man. I don't see me. I mean, I guess writers are just trying to write for one issue, and editors are just like, yeah, that's good enough. Sign off on check. No, paycheck. Thank you. That's all I'm getting from this. Equally bad. Right? And I know I'm just going to get hated for this stuff. Valkyries, #1. Same exact problem. You got 4 stories going on in here that you're trying to cram and make the most thinnest connection between the stories that it could be very well missed. Like, you're like, how does this even relate? Again, if you take the story backwards and you read it to the front, right, it doesn't make any sense. And then when you read it forward, it doesn't make any sense either. How does this stuff connect and put together? I don't know what the editor of this, I don't even know who the editor is, but obviously this thing was like, one or two things are happening here. Either the writer's a bully or the editor's just not doing their job. That's all I can honestly say out of this, because if you're going to tell me that this story makes sense, Bubba, I'll explain to me how in the comments. Like, what is the relationship between the 4 stories in here? Other than Valkyrie. Like, you can't say Valkyrie. And you can't say, because strong independent women. We know they're strong independent women. They're Valkyries. It's kind of their thing. It's in their job title. So that doesn't count. So what is the connecting tissue? If you know, please tell me. I would love to know. Before we jump into the next book, are you all familiar with the term word salad? This is generally when somebody says a bunch of scientific woo-woo stuff, right? It sounds super deep or super intelligent, but at the end of the day, there's really no connection to anything off in reality. Not even in reality, but in any type of belief system. So if I was to say the conjecture of an argument was made of its 4 sums in the event to rise in the hero's arc to an absolute conclusion, that would, like, you'd probably be like, well, that sounds like that's pretty deep. But I don't understand it, but that sounds smart. I didn't say anything. I said nothing. Nothing. It's like air. It was just there. You felt it for a second, and it disappeared. This is a word salad. Way of X is pretty much that. it's like Nightcrawler's trying to get to something deep in here. Like, we're kind of messing with religion and metaphysics and that whole thing. We got a crazy Dr. Nemesis running around here with mushrooms going out of his head that are obviously psychedelics, because one of the information pages tells you he's kind of diving into that kind of stuff. And it seems like there should be something there. Like, I'm grasping at straws when I was reading this. I was like, well, maybe that's something. I was like, no, that just doesn't make sense. And the whole belief system of if you can die and resurrect, and what's the, what is the meaning, right? What is beyond us is what they're ultimately trying to talk about in here. And they don't get to any conclusion. And they're not going to get to any conclusion because there's no conclusion to be made. These are separate arguments that people wish to have and believe in themselves, or for themselves, I should say. Not words. That's what I get for reading an X-Men book. Next, Aliens 2. Stupid good nostalgia. That's it. Guy gets pulled out of retirement. Kid's screwing around up in space. Lets a couple of aliens go. Dad's like, well, I gotta go get corporation tells Dad, you need to go get our alien back, the one you captured to begin with, and if you have time, fine, save your son. Of course, he's got other plans. He's gonna save his kid, right? So him, two other space marines, might as well be space marines, they shoot off and they're gonna go blow some stuff up. Best thing I read in Marvel so far. Super simple plan. Makes sense forwards and backwards. It's a simple story that's enjoyable. This was good. Moving on. Another good, simple story. Take something you already know. And I don't know what's been with King Arthur lately and Arthurian type stories. But again, another one, of course, our Black Knight, that's kind of his thing. But we kind of dredge deep into this one, where we bring back a character who most people may not know from more modern King Arthur type stories, but Morbid. Morbid was actually a character in a Welsh story of King Arthur, right around the year 537-ish. 537 is when he first appeared in an Arthurian type story. He's actually the nephew of King Arthur, and they battled each other, where he was mortally wounded by, that's right, his uncle, King Arthur. So we kind of got him in here, right? And he's going to be our big bad. He's the one whispering to everybody their weaknesses and making people feel depressed and want to commit suicide. Because we come to find out there are other things that were made out of the same material that the ebony blade was made out of. Black Knight's sword, right? So that happened in here, and I was like, well, that's pretty cool. And everything's got a cryptic meaning to it. There's a lot of crypticism going on in here. It's really good. We got some cool characters. We got some strong female leads in this. We got a sarcastic jerk. And we generally have a villain that whispers. And those are always the scariest ones to me. The ones that don't need to scream and yell, but just need to whisper in your ear for you to get the hint. That always seems a little creepier to me, and I like that. So this is really good. Next, Carnage, Black, White, and Red. So this whole book right here, these three stories that are in this particular anthology are dealing with power, I think is the best way to describe it. We get a little boy. He's obviously getting beat by stepdad. Stepdad doesn't like him. He just wants that power back. Carnage gives him a little power to get rid of the stepdad. But when it comes down to it, can he kill Spider-Man? Spider-Man. I almost did that thing I do over at Blaster Stash It. By the way, Blaster Stash It, Friday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on YouTube. Be sure to check them out. We'll put that card right up here someplace. I do that because I'm not sure where I'm going to put it yet. So back to this. So Spider-Man's chained up in a barn, and the kid decides he doesn't want to, and Spider-Man and Carnage get into it, and they fight off. They kind of just let that go to kind of show us the kid, he just wanted to be left alone at the end of the day. Kids get bullied. It was just a really sad story. The first one was actually a shark, right? An apex predator, something of immense amount of power, swimming around in the ocean, and who had more power than him? Brock, because we were dealing with the end of the King in Black. And the last story is an explorer looking for determination and the power to struggle on to get to his goal. Eventually gets taken over by, you guessed it, Carnage. All in all, these are just little short horror stories. They're fun. They don't have to be Carnage. They could be anything else. Demon possession, bacterium, whatever the case may be. Carnage is just a device to push the book. Next, Amazing Spider-Man. Does anybody care what's going on in this book? Like, we can kind of figure this one out, right? Boy and girl, they get kidnapped. Their dads hate each other. Dads are forced to work together. Darn it. Come to find out, they're probably a pretty good team. Okay, it's simplistic. It's funny. It's witty. It is what it is. I guess for some people it would be. But all in all, what we do get from here, Fred, or Boomerang, not the cool one we like from DC, but this random douchebaggy one. He decides he's going to step up and mature. He's tired of putting his friends in danger. He's got to go deal with Kingpin and get this runestone thing back. Like, that's going to be his thing right now. So he's going to go do that. He's going to go do that on his own. And, of course, Spider-Man's not going to let that happen. And he left us doing his little as he swings off. So that's it. That's my comic haul this week. I hope it wasn't too rough on something that you liked. If you did, definitely let me know down in the comments below. Keep your eyes open because our Evil Lair project, I'll be pushing that out there soon. I've already done the promo for it. It's already out there. But the actual making of the magical box, if you will, and I should finish that editing up hopefully sometime this weekend. This one I got done a little early because I have another exciting project that I can't wait to jump on. Other than that, don't forget you can always swing by Friday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, over at Blaster's Stash It right here on the old YouTubes. Myself, Huey, Spectacular Spider Grandpa, we're going to bring these books and we're going to get different takes on it because none of us agree on heart. Very rarely are all of us like, woo, this is a great book, or woo, this is a bad book. So you get different perspective of books. Who knows? Maybe you might like something in there in our live chat where you get to conversate with us and make the argument for your book being good or bad. All right, guys. Other than that, I got nothing else. I got to roll. I got things to do. Like, I think I might watch Snyder Cut. I haven't seen that yet. I know I'm so bad. All right, guys. Out.